Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be how to handle women who are dating multiple men. So I've got an email here. This is from a guy. What's interesting is the next two video newsletters, today's and tomorrow's, are going to be both situations where guys have met the women that they were seeing through online dating. And so it brings up a lot of interesting things because if in the reality is, especially these days, most guys and most people in general, men and women both, are on their digital devices all the time. And even when they're sitting at the table eating lunch or dinner together, people are on their phones, not really communicating with one another. And so a lot of guys, especially the younger guys, spend so much time in their digital devices, they just can't even, they don't have the confidence or the social skills to meet women in person. And so they're all online because it's easy to do and they're always on their online devices. But the downside with that is that you're in essence going on to a platform where women have all the leverage. They have tons and tons of attention from guys, especially the ones that are really beautiful. They've just got tons of dudes, so you have to get really good at quickly dismissing who's got it and who doesn't. And when you have that many choices and it's just a digital person on screen, the reality is even if you have a good conversation with somebody, it doesn't necessarily mean they're even going to show up for the date or even call and let you know that they're not going to show up for the date. Because it means nothing to them. It's just another swipe. It's like a video game, even though these are people's lives. People plan their time around, they get ready, they show up, and then they get stood up. So this particular guy met a girl online. He admitted that he did a lot of texting, which was the opposite of what I teach in 3% Man. And he kind of admits now that he probably did too much of it, but he ended up having a first date at her place and they hooked up. She told him how special it was. And then all of a sudden, a few days later, after they got their second date set, she tells him that she doesn't know how to handle all this, I think, new dating energy, I think she called it. And then come to find out, there's another guy she was seeing. After she got done telling him how special everything was, now there's another guy who's special as well. And it's a great email because it just perfectly illustrates how, when it comes to dating and attraction, women are just completely driven by their emotions. There's no logic and reason in it. And if you say that to a room full of feminists, they go absolutely berserk, but that's just the way it is. It's the way women respond. So you got to understand what you're dealing with if you want to navigate the world successfully. So I got a quote that I wrote and go through his email. And the quote says, "A man who has lots of choices and options with women is going to spend his time with women who work for his attention and who are easygoing and easy to be with. However, when a man is dating a woman who has many guys interested in her, less really is more. The man who could do without her and who doesn't care to interact with her unless she is making an effort equal to or greater than his will be the one she chooses. Women are driven by their emotions, and a man who can do without them is the man they chase. It's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear." It's important. Less really is more. But it gets tricky when you're trying to do online dating with somebody you haven't met in person, you haven't spent time talking to or creating rapport with. Because again, you're going into a space where she has all the leverage. And you got a really small shot at getting her attention unless you're a really super good-looking guy. So if you're just an average dude being on the dating apps because so many thirsty, lazy guys are on there, it's going to be a lot harder than if you just meet women in person. Because these days, if you can meet women in person and talk to them in person, you're doing something that most of the guys are unwilling or don't have the confidence to do. So let's go through his email. He says, "Hi, Corey. I hope you're good. I originally started following you after a big breakup about 3 years ago. Reading your book helped me to learn from my mistakes and come to terms with reality. I have read it about 7 to 8 times now. I know I could do better over the last 3 years, and I've been dating improving myself, getting in better shape, and feeling more confident. Well, 7 to 8 reads in 3 years, that's a half-ass effort. That's somebody that's not really that serious of a student. And that's why instead of sending me a good success story, you're sending me an email that basically shows you still don't understand the material and you're not applying it properly. You got to follow instructions. Life requires your participation. It's a participatory sport. And when I say read it 10 to 15 times, there's a reason. You got to understand the philosophy and the ebb and flow of things. Because right now, 7, 8 times over 3 years, you're just kind of cherry picking things and you're trying to be lazy. There's no shortcuts to success. And you're competing against other people in the world that are willing to outwork and out-hustle you. The greatest example, modern day example I've seen, especially like in professional sports, is the Tom Brady. That guy was willing to do things on a level of preparation and regimen and his diet and everything he did to a level that nobody else in the NFL was willing to even come close to. And that's why he just did extraordinary things. He was more committed than everybody else. He outworked and out-hustled everybody. A couple of months ago, all of a sudden, there seemed to be a lot more women interested in me. This, I believe, was because I was feeling happier in my life, on purpose, and confident in myself. When you feel the best way to improve your attractiveness is to improve the overall quality of your life and get to a place where you're really happy and you're really enjoying your life, because the world is full of miserable people. Just go outside and look around. Go walk around in a crowd of people. How many people are smiling? How many people are laughing and having a good time? So if you're one of those rare people that's happy and it's really enjoying your life, you're going to get noticed, especially by attractive women, because it's so rare. That's why instead of looking for somebody to make you happy, get to a happy place first, and then you'll attract somebody else who's also happy. He says, also through dating and trying out your teachings, I have learned how to be a better man in relationships. 2 of these women were of particular interest, and one of them I really liked a lot. She was beautiful, responsible, warm, and intelligent, and we wanted the same things in life, or so we thought. Because we met online, I texted her more than you recommend leading up to our date as to build rapport, but still managed to meet up with her and have a great night. Well, as I always say, the phone's for setting dates, not getting to know somebody. But you were able to say enough things right. Maybe the girl was just desperate. Maybe she had been out of circulation for a while. Maybe she had a breakup. Now she's just getting into online dating herself. And the reality is she's going to get barraged by dudes. So you could have just been the first guy that she came across, or the first guy that she seemed to click with, before the other horde of thirsty beta males just showed up en masse. However, I do wonder if I might have created problems down the road by having texting be a foundation of our connection. Well, I've done countless emails over the years where that's exactly what happened. For our date, I was originally going to take her out to dinner, but she suggested that we hang at her place instead. She was ready to get turned up. That could be some guy rejected her. A boyfriend rejected her, or breakup. You don't really know. That actually sounded better to me, so we did that. Right away, we hit it off, and we're having a great time chatting on the couch. I let her do most of the talking, and pretty soon we were upstairs in the bedroom. Obviously, she liked you. You passed the physical attraction test. The next day, she texted saying, last night felt special. Special. You're so special. You're the special one for me. There's Mr. Right and Mr. Right Now. And I would say, because I know how this email ends, you are Mr. Right Now. But too many guys, obviously this emailer included, thought, hey, I'm Mr. Right. It was for me too. I really liked her. A couple days later, we exchanged a couple more texts and made a date for the following weekend. Here's where it went sideways. A few days before our date, she texted saying she wasn't feeling well. I think I'm getting sick. I think I'm coming down with something. I know our date's 5 days away, but I don't think I'm going to make it. So it's like she's There's something else going on, and she's looking for an excuse to get out of the date. I said, that is fine. Sorry you are sick. We can reschedule our date. She then said, I don't know if it's that I'm sick or I'm just overwhelmed by all this new dating energy. The best response for that is, what do you mean? Well, sure enough, she canceled the date. I'm shocked. When a woman gives you a hint that she may have to cancel a date or may be sick, she's not going to show up. I couldn't help myself. I had to ask, what exactly do you mean, all this new dating energy? Good question. He was paying attention enough to get that. It's such a great question. What do you mean? Well, you probably guessed it. She had met another guy just a couple days after our special night together. It was surprising. Not surprising to me at all. She's online, dude. It's like, as soon as a woman gets online, it's like, whoo, whoo, whoo. It's just like thousands of dicks incoming her way. I remember, I told this story a few times over the years in other videos. This was probably, let's say 2008 maybe, 2009. I met this really attractive girl. She was Russian descent. We talked on the phone like 10, 15 minutes, met out, had a really good date. And I remember I was the only guy that she had met from I don't even remember what the app was at the time. It might have been Match.com, I think. But she said that she, like within 24 hours, she had over 100 emails from dudes. She got so overwhelmed, she's like, fuck this. And so I was the only dude that she met. And this is 10, 12 years ago. It was before Tinder and all these other apps came along, which just, made the problem, exacerbated the problem. Her experience with, and then guys that were sending emails were sending multiple emails pissed off that she hadn't responded, or they saw that she had read their email and didn't reply, because there was over 100 of them in a matter of hours. In less than a day, there was over 100 dudes emailing her. And I was the only guy that she met and she went out with. But what was interesting is she had picked me, because if you've ever followed the script that I put in the Ultimate Online Dating Profile, it's like she read it and she's like, oh, that's me. He's describing me. And sure enough, when I got to know her, she was a lot like I had described. But it was interesting for me. It was like, I just couldn't believe the response. I was like, damn. It's like there was a lot of thirsty dudes. And so that's what the average guy is competing against. That's why it's so much better just to create a profile where they contact you first. Because otherwise, if you're sending emails and you're messaging them, it's just, they got so much attention. You're in a weak position of leverage. So meanwhile, he hooks up, has a special night, and then she realized, wow, I got all this power. There's all these other dudes that want her. She had met another guy just a couple days after our special night together. It was surprising because I thought she really liked me. Well, she did in the moment. Women are emotional beings. But the emotions are subject to change, just like the weather is. I thought the attraction was high. I must have texted her too much, probably. Or maybe she just felt confused after meeting another guy she was attracted to. Well, she had a lot of choices. And so she threw that out there because she doesn't know which guy to choose. And so then it becomes a test. Who's the strongest guy? Who's the most masculine guy? And women just naturally, instinctively will do this. Obviously, our emailer did not handle it appropriately. She said, but I do like you a lot and still want to explore our connection. I should have probably said, no problem, get back to me when your schedule frees up. I would have just said, well, why don't we keep the date and I'll see you at such and such a day and time. He says, but instead, I got butthurt. I was perturbed, yeah. I basically told her that I didn't like being treated that way and to take care. Nice to meet her. I'm taking my toys and I'm going home. I'm leaving the sandbox. I'm not going to play with you anymore. It kind of implied that she had led me on. She didn't like that very much. But after a week or so, I started to regret my decision. Doesn't really matter. It's just one. But the thirst is real. I tried to reach out and apologize for overreacting. And although she did respond with kindness, she basically didn't want to talk to me much anymore. I think it's a lost cause at this point. Yeah, pretty much. You got perturbed and upset. The important way to handle that is if a woman is hinting that she may break a date, then it's best to just blow it up. And that's where you do the takeaway. You say, well, if you're not sure, we can schedule another time, or we can just do it, or I should say, if you're not sure, we can just do it some other time without offering her a time. And then you just pause and you shut up. This is an important thing. This is right out of sales. He who speaks first loses. So when you tell her, well, if it doesn't work or you're not feeling well, we can do it some other time then. And then you stop and you wait for what she says. And if she just goes, okay, yeah, I think we'll just do it some other time. Then you know she's like not that into it. Then you say, all right, have a good night, take care, and never speak to her again. Now she may reach out in the future, but if she says, no, I want to keep the date, then she's in. It's important to do that so you don't waste your time, because if you don't do that, there's a good chance she flakes on you anyways. He says, this experience taught me a lot. It basically confirms everything you teach, how to act, how not to act, and the mindset to have and to not have with a woman you really like. I see now I should have treated her the same as every other girl and not put her on a pedestal. Also, I need to wait before getting too attached to any one girl. Yep. No matter how much it seems we like each other. Again, women are emotional beings, and their emotions change as often as the weather changes. If there's anything else you would like to add about where it went wrong, I'm happy to hear your safe advice. It might not be pleasant. It might be safe, but it's not going to be pleasant. I mean, at the end of the day, the guy realizes where he went wrong. But like I said, if you're going to be doing online dating, this is what you're going to deal with. Because just like the Russian girl that I mentioned, she got overwhelmed and dipped out of the dating apps, and I was the guy that got her. But in this particular case, it's kind of a similar experience. This particular woman stayed on there, and now she's got two guys that she likes, and she's like, I'm confused. I don't know who I like the most. Well, you got perturbed and upset, so, so the other guy, he's now her special one. But this is why if you're going to be online, your game's got to be tight. You can't be doing stupid things like this, because you learn, you get burned, and then you don't do it again. So if you got a question or a challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.